A rare occasion, yes. So today, really we are fortunate that we have two Swamis with us. Formal introduction will be given by Swami Mangesha Maharaj, that is Swami Jyoti Sarupananda, and Swami Santimayananda, that is our Pratik Maharaj. Because I don't want to take much of your time, that Atmaganandaji is very well speaker, good speaker, renowned speaker, and he has been in the Washington DC Center for a long time. And not only that, he's a good sadhu. You may get in good number of orators, the best speakers, but it's very difficult to get a good sadhu. Sadhu in the real term. So, Swami Atmagananda is a good sadhu, there is no doubt about it. And many of us have heard his lecture. His lecture is very piercing. It touches the heart of the audience, heart of the devotees. And today he will speak on the subject. He has selected his subject, that is grace of mind. And Swami Santi Bratanandaji, very young Swami, I think he has been in a Dublin Center, Ireland, for 7 or 8 years. He is also a good speaker. He can speak Bengali, Hindi also he can speak, no? Hindi, little. Hindi, and his mother tongue, Kannada, and at the same time, English. So Swami also is a good speaker, and within a very short period, he could attract the devotees, because everybody wants to listen to him. So his subject today is how to achieve peace. A very important subject. Both subjects are very important. The grace of mind and how to achieve peace of mind. Both subjects are very, very important. So I'd like to request you to listen to their lectures. Definitely you'll be benefited. There is no much time, that is why we have not kept question answer session. But at the end of the two lectures, if there is time, definitely both the Swami will take some questions. There is no doubt about it. Next, the last week, our students from the library, they put very nice questions. This time also I hope that we'll put some pertinent questions to both the Swamis. And I'm very sorry that I could not stay during their lecture, because I have to rush to Dwarka. There is very important program is there. Is it long back? It was fixed, so I cannot do anything. So I had to rush to the Dwarka study circle, Ramakrishna Vachanamrita study circle. So Maharaj, I couldn't stay. So Maharaj. So anyway, so please introduce Maharaj, Swami Atmaganandaji.
Swami Atmaganandaji, born as Stuart Ekman, is a notable monk and scholar of the Ramakrishna order, which he joined in 1981. He is currently the resident minister at the Vedanta Center of Greater Washington, D.C. in Silver Spring, Maryland, USA. He holds a PhD in Oriental Studies from the University of Pennsylvania, and he is a scholar in Indian philosophy also. He is the author of Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha, a study on the philosophical and sectarian development of the Gaudiya Vaishnava movement, this book was published under his pre-monastic name, that is Stuart Ekman. Swami is known for being a significant critic of Jeffrey Kripal's book Kali's Child. So I request Swami to speak on the subject, the grace of the mind.
All of you know that today is Saturday, And every Saturday there is a Gita class. Generally, I take Gita class on Sunday. And now today you have come, so you will tell Maharaj, will not come on Sunday. That will not do. So tomorrow there is a Gita class. Please attend. Many of you attend, I know. So Maharaj, I'll have to request you to speak on this subject. Thank you. You can hear or you can stand. Oh, book কি করছে কি Maharaj, they have forgotten to the book. Yes, Maharaj. So I am taking leave. So again I will meet you tomorrow, Sunday. Thank you.
Maharaj, before you go, my pranam and my thanks for the invitation. And Maharaj has visited us on different occasions in Washington. We're always very happy when he comes.
Yes.
And I apologize that the last time I was supposed to speak, I couldn't speak.
The
But-
first Maharaj was
Yeah.
supposed to speak on 29th of November.
Yeah,
Anyhow, it is cancelled.
yeah.
Then Maharaj told that he will speak on 10th December. That is also cancelled. Now, today, 6th December, he is speaking.
Yeah, because Gopal. So I'm very happy to be here. The Delhi Center is very special to me. My Gurudev Swami Swahanandaji was one of the heads of center. He came after Swami Ranganathanandaji Maharaj, and this was one of the first places that I visited when I came to India many, many years ago. So I have some special connection with this center. So I'm very happy to be here. The topic that I've chosen, the grace of the mind, this is based on a saying, probably part of a song that Ramakrishna used to repeat on many occasions, and Swami Brahmananda, the first president of our order, he was very fond of this verse. It says, Guru Krishna Vaishnava Tina Doya Hole Ake Doya Bine Jivo Chade Khade Galo. Even if one has the grace of these three, the Guru, the Lord, and the devotees, the Jiva, lacking the grace of the one, becomes nothing but dust and ashes. So what is this one that we have to have? We have the grace of Guru, we have the grace of the Lord, we have the grace of the devotees. So Swami Brahmananda, he says that one is the mind. If the mind is conquered, the world can be conquered. All spiritual practice and discipline are for that alone, the conquest of the mind. So this was a very important teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, and for some reason Swami Brahmananda also stressed this very much. He used to meet with the young monks when he was in Velarmat. Very often they would come every morning. They would come sit with him for meditation. They would get instruction from him. So this was one of the teachings that he emphasized very much. One day he said to the young monks, "My boys, you have the grace of the Guru. You have the desire for spiritual knowledge. By receiving the Lord's grace, you have received the Lord's name. You have received His grace, and you also have the society of the holy. Now you must strive to get the grace of your own minds. By gaining mastery over your own minds, you will, by its grace, realize the grace of God and the grace of the Guru." When I first read this, I thought, what a fascinating concept this is. We naturally think, if we have the grace of the Guru, that we don't need much else. We have a holy company, that this is also something, but if we have the grace of God, we assume the grace of God means God realization. But we find that this grace of God, it works on two different levels. There's a very nice story that Sri Ramakrishna used to tell. There was a king in a small kingdom, and he wanted to see how the ordinary people of the kingdom, how they lived. So he said to his minister, "You find one family, and don't tell them anything, but get everything ready, and I'll visit one day. So the minister, they went to the family. They saw the house needed to be cleaned, so they cleaned everything. They saw there was no table or chair, so they bought everything needed. They got a nice tea set, everything, good quality tea, everything arranged perfectly. And they said, why? He said, all of this, what is the reason? And he said, the king will come. So this is also the grace of the mind, or the grace of God, we can say, the grace of God, when we have that expectation something special will happen, when we have that purity of mind that comes, when everything needed, what are the things that are needed? Viveka, Vairagya, Bhakti, Anuraga, all of these things are necessary. Then when the king comes, when we have that actual experience, the higher sense of the grace of the mind. So here we can say that we've all received these three types of grace. And many at least have taken spiritual initiation. This is all holy company. See, satsanga doesn't simply mean the company of sadhus. It means the company of the devotees as well. So we've had these other types of grace. Now, what is missing? If we've had all of these other types of grace, we should be God realized. But what is the one thing necessary? The mind. Mind, of course, when we say mind and heart. In the Sanskrit language, manas. The manas is also the seat of the heart. When we talk about that, we don't simply mean this intellectual quality. We mean that feeling, that within the depths of our own being, this is also what we mean by manas. So we have many different ways of understanding this. We have a very famous verse from the Viveka Chudamani that talks also about different types of grace. And Shankaracharya, he says, Durlabham, it's very rare. We have to consider ourselves very blessed if we have these different types of grace. Even this human birth, and living at a time so close to the avatar, to having the grace of living near a center, being able to have access to sadhus, to be part of the tradition. So we have this grace of just this human birth that we've had at this time. And then Mamukshata, then the grace, we have some desire for liberation, realization, in some devotional traditions, even the desire for bhakti. Desire for bhakti higher than the desire for mukti in the devotional traditions. So Mahapurusha Samshraya, that many of us have had the grace and the blessing of getting a spiritual guru and taking initiation. So Shankaracharya, he says that all three of these are something very, very rare. And we shouldn't waste these things. We should be very grateful that we've had this type of blessing and take it as a type of grace. We understand that as a type of grace. So what do we mean that we need something in addition to all of this, the grace of the mind? So this is the one thing that is necessary, because if we don't have that, we can have all of the great blessings. We can have initiation. We can have a holy company. We can have access to all the scriptures, everything in the world. If the mind doesn't cooperate, then we can be lost. Now, I'm not talking about any serious mental conditions. We know that we should all feel very grateful if we don't suffer from depression and all different types of mental disabilities, schizophrenia, many very serious things. I don't want to make light of these things. That we should be very thankful if you reach my age, at least, you have a few brain cells left and can remember a few things. We should be gracious for that. But the ordinary person with the ordinary mind that's not suffering from any type of mental illness or ailments or anything like that still finds that this mind is a very restless thing. And despite all of the opportunities we have, all of the grace that we've received, that if we can't control that mind, that this mind becomes, according to Bhagavad Gita, mind acts as an enemy to us even. The mind which is controlled is our best friend. That mind, which is out of control, is our worst enemy. So this idea of the grace of the mind is something that applies to everyone. And we have to make sure that we don't waste this other opportunity. Durlabham. This is a very rare thing that we've been given all the different types of grace that we have. So now we have to really use all the powers that we have to try to control this restless mind. So this is something we see, and we read Bhagavad Gita, and how much emphasis there is there on how this restless mind, the restless mind is so difficult to control. The Arjuna says to Sri Krishna, easier to control the wind than to control the mind. And that somehow this mind, if it's under control, it'll help us in spiritual life. Otherwise, it just pulls on, it drags us down. The same mind. So this is the challenge that we have, that we're trying to lift up the mind using what? The mind itself. This is the difficulty, that we have no other option, no other instrument to use. We talk about the higher mind and the lower mind. It's all one mind, but we have this ability to somehow observe the mind. The higher mind is the one that can control the lower mind. How does it do it? We have this process of viveka, vichara, this discernment, discrimination, observing the mind. We have to have this power to make the mind quiet, to make the mind peaceful. We have to have that power to stop unwanted thoughts in the mind, to be able to direct the mind. See, for most of us, the mind tells us what to do, and we want to be able to tell the mind what to do. Now, it sounds very odd. Am I something separate from the mind? We have a very difficult time putting this into some clear type of language, but we all know that we have the ability to observe this lower mind, and we have to have some faith that we have some power within us to exert some type of change over the mind. We discussed this question so many times about free will. Do we have any free will? We have to have some faith that we have at least enough that we can start to transform ourselves. We have to have that much faith. Otherwise, why does Ramakrishna talk so much about you have to have great determination, tremendous grit. You have to work very hard. We can simply say, what can I do? It's my mind. That this is, I have no choice. I can't change myself. No, we have to have some faith that we can, through our spiritual practice, through different types of prayer and all different other practices we have, that we can reverse this process so that the mind doesn't tell us what to do. We can tell the mind what we would like it to do. So part of this is analyzing this mind and understanding that, yes, I am something separate from this mind on a certain level, that I can feel myself to be the witness of the mind, that witness is something transcendent, something unchanging. Now, this is something that is very helpful, because if I can start to feel myself as the observer of the mind, then the mind will automatically start to become quiet. We think that the mind can just be running all over. I'm the observer. Let it run around. But it doesn't work that way. If we can really identify with this observer, the mind automatically becomes at least a little bit quiet. This is why Swamiji, when Swami Vivekananda is giving us instructions on meditation, he says in the beginning, let the mind run around a little bit, but observe it. Feel yourself to be separate from it. Feel yourself to be unaffected by it. Then the mind itself will start to become a little bit quiet. So we see that after years of spiritual practice, that we start to get a little bit get this mind under control a little bit, but it remains fickle. And we have to understand that this is the nature of the mind. We shouldn't get depressed. We shouldn't feel that there's something wrong with us. We sit for meditation and the mind wanders. This is the nature of the mind. Even understanding that is something very helpful. This is a quote from Swami Brahmananda again. The mind rebels against effort. It always seeks ease and comfort. But if you wish to achieve anything, you must force it to struggle. So this is that little bit of free will that we have. That we can't simply say this is the nature of the mind, that there's nothing I can do. Nigraha kim karishyati. We have this line in Bhagavad Gita. What good will self-restraint do? Yes, it'll do some good. Little by little, it'll do some good. So Maharaj says, it always seeks ease and comfort, but if you wish to achieve anything, you must force it to struggle. That is the only way to make your mind steady. Should you give up meditation because the mind doesn't like it? If you go on in that way, you can never learn to meditate. Regular war must be waged against the mind. To force the mind to obey you is the ideal of spiritual discipline. So this is what we're trying to do. Of course, we're trying to develop devotion, so many other things, but at least when we practice meditation, we're trying to develop that power to keep the mind from wandering, to focus the mind on that object of our devotion and of our meditation. Now, Sri Ramakrishna is very clear. The easiest way to do that is to have tremendous love for the ideal. If we have this anuraga for our Ishta Devata, then the mind naturally will go there. But in the beginning, it takes a little time. We have to give the mind, feed the mind the nectar of this name of God until it starts to seek it on its own. Swami Vivekananda, he says, we are slaves to our and everybody else's mind. Whether we are good or bad, that makes no difference. We are led here and there because we cannot help ourselves. We say we think, we do, etc. It is not so. We think because we have to think. We act because we have to. We are slaves to ourselves and to others. Deep down in our subconscious mind are stored up all the thoughts and acts of the past, not only of this life, but of all other lives we have lived. This great boundless ocean of subjective mind is full of all the thoughts and actions of the past. Each one of these is striving to be recognized, pushing outwards for expression, surging wave after wave out upon the objective mind, the conscious mind. These thoughts, the stored up energy, we take for natural desires and so on. It is because we do not raise their true origin. We obey them blindly, unquestionably. And slavery, the most helpless kind of slavery, is the result, and we call ourselves free. Free. This is the negative side. Don't get too upset. The mind uncontrolled and unguided will drag us down forever, rend us, kill us. And the mind controlled and guided will save us and free us. So it must be controlled. And Raja Yoga teaches us how to do this. This is from Swamiji's introduction to Raja Yoga. So we have different ways of doing this. First is meditation. In meditation, not only are we trying to control the mind, but we're observing the mind. So we've seen that already. That if we observe the mind, we can feel some separation from the mind. We can see the mind as functioning according to the old samskaras and not get too attached. Yes, this is the way I used to think. I used to run after these desires. This is the old mind. I'm observing all of this. So this is meditation is very helpful for that. Now prayer. Why will prayer help us? Prayer is recognition of our incapacity to control the mind and direct the mind without some divine help. So this is also something very helpful. We can pray. Let this rascal mind sit at the feet of the Lord. So prayer is something very helpful. Then, even talking to the mind. See, we talk to the mind and we start again to feel that I am something separate from the mind. If we look at many of these beautiful songs that are composed, many Ram Prasad songs and others, that they're all addressed to the mind. He said, oh, my mind. Many of the songs will begin like that. giving that feeling of separation. Sri Ramakrishna, he also had that habit of talking to his mind. He would tell us that once I had some desire for some small little things. He gives 3 different examples. He wanted to taste all of the sweetmeats in Kolkata. So there are many famous shops. He wanted to taste all of them. He wanted to wear some very expensive shawl. Why? Little desire came into the mind. He wanted to see what this would be like. He wanted to smoke from a silver hubble bubble. So he got Mathur Babu to get all of these things, and then he observed, and then again he talks to his mind. He says, "Oh, my mind, what was this desire for these things? This, you taste the sweet, it's gone in a minute. There's nothing to it. These only increase your rajas. Oh, my mind." So observing that mind and telling the mind that, are these really things that you want? So another type of, we can say, viveka, discrimination, that we talk to our own mind. Now, one of the problems is that this sense of discrimination and observing the mind and talking to the mind is nothing absolute. We tend to think somehow if we observe the mind and we use our power, intellectual power of deciding what to do and what not to do, that there will be some absolute straight right path that we follow. But this mind is very tricky. I like to give the example that when we're deciding what to eat, that if we're presented with a choice between something that tastes good and something that doesn't taste good, that there'll be times when we'll use our power of discrimination and say that this isn't good for me, that I'll regret it later, that I'll take the good thing. This is discrimination. Other times we'll say, this life is short, this tastes good, that I've done it before. I get a little indigestion, but next day I'm okay. Why not enjoy it a little bit? This is also discrimination. So there's nothing absolute about it. We have to have some standards. And the best standard is Shreyas and Preyas. We find this concept in the Kathopanishad that Yama explains to Natiketa, that we're constantly presented with options in life. One will be a choice that will be good for us in our spiritual life, that will lead to something higher. The other won't be bad, prayas, it'll be pleasant, but it'll just increase our desires for things, and it won't lead to anything higher. So the Jamhi praises Natiketa that you've chosen Shreyas, you've chosen the higher type of path. Yes, so we don't want to be like the camel. The camel likes the very tasty leaves of the tree that has lots of thorns. And every time it eats it, its gums will bleed. But it continues to do it. Why? He likes the taste. He likes the taste. So we have to be very careful that we analyze correctly all of these things. So this is where the mind comes in. If we have the grace of the mind, we'll be able to do the proper type of discrimination. Otherwise, we'll be like the camel. So Swami Brahmanandi, he says, but know this, there's no greater guru than your own mind. When the mind has become purified by prayer and contemplation, it will direct you from within. Directly from within, it gives the feeling of grace. This is the whole point, that we don't have control over this mind. When the mind seems to be favorable to us, then we feel very fortunate. We feel very blessed. We sit for meditation, the mind becomes quiet. It's a great blessing. We don't know why and how. We wake up one morning, we're in a good mood. It's a wonderful thing. Another morning, we're in a sour mood. We may not have any reason for it. So we feel the grace of the mind. So it says that no greater guru than your own mind. When the mind has become purified by prayer and contemplation, it will direct you from within. Even in your daily duties, this inner guru will guide you until the goal is reached. Yeah, Thakur says the mind itself becomes the guru. Have intense love for God, and the mind will always remain tranquil and pure. So this is, I'll talk about three different senses. This is one idea, grace of the mind. The mind becomes favorable. The mind is not buffeted here and there by desires, and we have some control over the mind. Now, there's a higher sense, and we can understand it with this term prasada. Prasada. This we generally associate this with food that's been offered. We offer food and we take it as prasada. But it has another meaning. It means grace. It also means some type of purity, some translucency. It's a state of mind. Manah prasada. We find, especially in the Stita Prajna section of Bhagavad Gita, many different references and different ways of explaining this prasada. When the mind becomes transparent, so just as we can see, if we go to some tropical beaches and we see that all beautiful fish down at the bottom and different colored pebbles, and sometimes the water is so clear we can see directly to the bottom. This is prasad. This is what's meant, and many different prasanna. We have this very often used with regard to the Divine Mother, that she becomes pleased with us. So we feel that the mind has become pleased, and the mind becomes very pure, and we can see it through the depths of it. So this grace of the mind is a state of mind. It's a state of mind where the mind becomes perfectly still. We also find in Gita definition of this sattvic happiness. This sattvic happiness. Atma buddhi prasadajam. Again, this prasada. The prasadajam, it's the result of this grace of the mind. Atma buddhi. Grace of the mind where we feel ourselves one with the self, with the higher self. So this is the second sense in which we can understand what's meant by the grace of the mind. The mind attains to a state of grace. It's an actual state where the mind is perfectly serene and quiet and peaceful. One of the most beautiful sections is the Stita Prajna section, the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. And this section is meant as a blueprint for us. If we read Shankaracharya's commentary, this section is not meant for us to simply, how can we recognize these great souls? And no, we have to emulate them. We have to take this as a blueprint for us to follow, a kind of template that we want to be able to make that mind still and quiet. How do we do it? We become free from all other types of desires. We become established in the self. Brahmi stita. We read at the end of that chapter 2, this is the state of being one with the Brahman, that Brahman state, that the mind becomes perfectly calm and peaceful and tranquil. And we can take this as this second sense of prasada, clearness, brightness, purity, where we have the direct vision and we get established in that. So this is definitely a type of grace when the mind becomes peaceful and quiet. But there's a third type of grace, that this comes from the mind that attains to a certain type of clarity of understanding. So the same sense that we have of stillness and calmness and oneness and everything is a certain type of state, but there's also a type of clarity of understanding where we realize that yes, I am that supreme, infinite, absolute reality, that I feel one with that I don't confuse myself with anything else. This is also a type of state of grace. This is something that Swami Vivekananda, he talks about so many times. This Ashtavakra Samhita, this is something that, this idea that the mind is responsible for all of this, this is found in that very much, and Thakur himself would talk about this. So we find that this grace of the mind is responsible for everything. Everything is a question of the mind. Thakur uses this expression, moni ekota. It's all a question of the mind. What is that condition of the mind? So we have these three ways of looking at it. One, that we have the grace of the mind to the extent that And now I know that I have some control. I have some ability. Not that I'll enter into samadhi or anything like that, but I have some ability to control the mind. I feel myself to be separate from that mind. That I know that if I can control the mind, that the mind will be the greatest help in spiritual life. So that itself is a type of grace of the mind. Then the second type was that we can enter into that state where the mind is serene and quiet and peaceful, just like the lake with no ripples on it. This is also the state of grace of the mind. And then the third type, not just in meditation with eyes open, I feel one with that supreme absolute reality. This is also through the grace of the mind. So we see that this is absolutely necessary, that we can't simply rely on the fact that we've taken initiation, that we've had a holy company, that we have the company of devotees, and all. We have to put forth some special effort to achieve this. And it's something that as we practice, it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer to us. This verse I referred to earlier about sattvic happiness, that in the beginning, all the spiritual practice that we do, it may be a chore. It may be something that we don't develop a taste for in the beginning, that we have to force ourselves to do it. The Gita even says it may be like poison, vishamiva. But at the end, it's amrita. At the end, it becomes like nectar for us. This is another great truth in spiritual life. And we find again in Bhagavad Gita many times that if we do all of these things in spiritual life, do all of these different practices, not only can we achieve something higher in spiritual life, but we'll be happy people. Sukhi naraha. We'll be happy people. That life will become smooth for us. And we'll feel this is also the grace of the mind. So why grace? Why use this term grace of the mind? Because we feel it's so precious. If we can enter into that state where we feel nothing can move us, where we feel that we're beyond everything, we can observe everything quietly, carefully, that we feel that we're protected somehow, that we enter into that state where we know we're one with that absolute reality, and we know that we can't achieve this just through our own efforts, then we understand that this is grace. So these are the different ways that, for me at least, it's helpful to understand this. How even having the grace of God, that means all of the advantages we have in spiritual life, even having, there's a holy company, which Thakur says is the most important thing, holy company, and even having the grace of the Guru, that we need the grace of the mind. So I will stop here, and we have our Swamiji from Ireland, who will also speak now. Thank you.
So we heard a beautiful exposition on the grace of mind. And as we all know, mind is the most mischievous thing everybody we feel we have to cope with. And the first thing that everybody asks, and that's why that was the most pertinent message of Holy Mother before her passing away, her last parting message, what you have to do if you want peace of mind. So we are in here now for another beautiful exposition on this very topic, how to achieve peace of mind, by Swami Shanti Vratanandji, who I am happy to say my own batchmate. We were together in training center for 2 years. Now, as you all know, Swami has moved to Dublin. He is minister in charge there. Before being posted there for 2 decades, he was in 2 of our Karnataka centers in Bangalore and Mysuru, where also he was engaged significantly in youth development activities, taking classes, lectures, etc. Meanwhile, he was posted that he also completed a doctorate on the topic Swami Vivekananda's concept of man and analytical study with first rank and gold medal. And later, as we all know, that he was posted to Dublin, and there, after being posted there, he is not only carrying out the Vedanta, spreading of Vedanta and this message there, Ramakrishna Vivekananda message, he also travels extensively across the world, giving enlightening speech on such lofty subjects, which is quite helpful for especially the spiritual seekers to make their life more and more God-oriented. So we welcome Swami Shantivratanandji in midst of us on behalf of our mission and all of you devotees, and I would like to take this opportunity to welcome him by presenting him a flower bouquet. So Swamiji, the stage is all yours. Please come and enlighten our audience.
ओम दुर्जनो सज्जनो भूयात् सज्जन शांति माप्नुयात् शांतो मुच्चेत बंधुभ्यो मुक्तश्चान्यान विमोचयेत्. May all the wicked people be turned into virtuous people. May all the virtuous people may attain the peace. May the people who have attained peace help others to achieve the peace. Om, peace, peace, peace. Revered Swamijis, dear Maharaj, and dear devotees. So now we have got a mixed audience here. Last few rows they are youngsters, and few front rows they are senior people or middle-aged people. Now if you ask how to achieve peace, so how can I attain peace or achieve peace? Definitely the relevance and the way to achieve peace will be completely different. The people who are already working, settled in the family life, having kith and kin, for them the peace, the way to attain peace and their necessities are quite different from the young chaps who are supposed to achieve maybe the job or the professions and the goals like pursuing their competitive exams. So keeping that in the mind, half an hour talk I will be segregating or dividing into two halves. First half I will be discussing how to achieve peace probably for the youngsters, and the second half will be for devotees. How to achieve peace? Today we have got lot of science and technology, advancements in science and technology. Everything, whatever we wish, we can get in a speck of moment, starting from food, ordering in Swiggy and Zomato, from starting there, everything we can get there. But in spite of that, if we ask question for ourselves, are we peaceful? Are we happy? Most of us, if not all, most of us, we can't say yes. We can't give affirmative answer. 50-60 years before, pertaining to our country, motherland, there was poverty, there was issue with the literacy, issue with the industrialization. There are so many issues were there. When people were happy or not happy. Then after advancement in so many things, we are having a big leap towards the developed nation, still people are feeling that they are not happy. So why? Because we think peace rests upon achieving something. Maybe having a person, having a thing, having a favorable situation, favorable circumstances. We think one can get peace, one can have peace. It is not so. This is the story between 1980 and 90. A young chap by name Suhas Gopinath, who comes from India, that too especially from Bangalore. He was in his high school, 8th or 9th standard. In those days when we were studying, suddenly there was an announcement in our school that today there will be a demo, computer demo. So we were all excited to go and see the computer. So that's the first time in our life we are seeing the computer. So there was a half an hour demo class. Then afterwards we came and we never laid for our relatives, friends, neighbors, for everyone. We started telling for 2-3 days. Saying, I saw computer today, I saw computer today, I saw computer today. Because that was rare indeed in those days. Similar case was with Suhas Gopinath. But one of his friend who comes from rich family, they had a computer. Recently they had purchased the computer. So that fellow wanted to show that we are rich. So he marked with Suhas Gopinath saying that we have got a computer in our house. It can do many activities. Like we can play games, we can do some calculations, and I can prepare my notes there, etc. Have you got anything? If so, let me know. Obviously, Suhas Gopinath never had that computer in his house. He felt little bad about it. With all his innocence, he approaches his father and he says, Dear father, my friend has got a computer in their house and he is able to do multiple actions and activities. Why can't we get a computer so that I can also do? Innocently he asked. His father said, My dear, unfortunately, we don't have so much money. Economically, we are not that sound. Probably in some time, if God willing, God's grace happens on us, then we shall try to purchase a computer. Otherwise, no. He was a good student and he was an obedient son also. Hence, he kept quiet. He never blamed his father. He never blamed the fate. He accepted it obediently and he continued his life. But intense desire was lingering in his mind that I should learn computer. And I should give a right response, not reaction again, right response to my friend by learning computer or doing some activities in the computer. Just he's continuing his life. All of a sudden, one day, because now his mind is searching for that computer, all of a sudden he could locate from his way back to home from the school that they have opened a Abacus Computer Center. He approached them and he said, Uncle, I am ready to work here. Can you take me? He's just 14-15 years young chap. If you take him to the job, what happens? Child labor problem. So the owner said, sorry my dear, you are a young man, you are a minor, I can't take you because the child labor problem comes, I can't take you. So as Gopinath said, Uncle, I don't want any salary. Then the fellow said, what? You don't want salary and you want to work here? You want to do any charity here then? He said, not really. What do you want then? I am ready to work here for 2 or 3 hours, whatever the work you give. Then what are you expecting in return? He says, 1 hour you should give me chance to work with computer. Because it's a computer center, so 1 hour every day freely you should allow me to work with a computer. That's only my expectation in return. The computer owner thought it is quite interesting and he started inquiring why you want to learn, what you want to learn, why you want to spend 1 hour with the computer, etc. And he gave his own reasons. And the computer owner was really inspired, or you can say felt very happy about seeing his desire to come up in his life. He said, all right, from tomorrow you come. So 2 to 3 hours he used to sit in the reception counter. Whoever used to come, he used to enter the logbook timings for 1 hour tours, whatever the prescribed amount was there, he used to receive. And he used to, when going, he used to again note that such and such a person has left at such and such a time, etc. And along with working, he also has got a computer now. For 1 hour or more, he can work. Now, dear young Indians, if we get such chances, imagine if there is no internet, for example, if we get a computer, what we try to do? We see in our amazement, no doubt, but apart from that, we will start probably playing games. If we get a chance, we may see some movies or whatever. Basically, we will try to spend time in a lighter way. But this fellow, he started learning computer, what is computer, what are the parts, etc. And in 6 months, In 6 months, he learned one language, computer language by himself, and he also developed a website pertaining to the education. He was very happy about it. He went and he told his father that he has done. And obviously, his father, he was ignorant about this computer and other things, simply slapped him. You fellow, I asked you not to think about all these things. You are supposed to go to school and study well and you will get a good marks in the SLC or 10th standard. Instead of that, you are doing all this nonsense. From tomorrow, you are not supposed to go. So he slapped. Suhas Gopinath was feeling really bad about. But very interestingly, luckily, one of his friend, again who had settled in America, he called for expressing birthday wishes. Then Suhas Gopinath was down because of the incident. His friend could understand, then his friend poked him what happened. Then he explained the whole thing. Then his friend, he informed his father about Suhas Gopinath. Then that fellow, because he was an IT guy, he understood the importance of this. Then he said, okay, I am ready to sponsor you. You come here, I will give a computer, you can study or pursue your education and you can pursue a dream. But again, Suhas was such a fine child. He thought if I accept this, probably it might undermine the dignity of my father. So he didn't accept. So his friend's father could understand this. Then he gave a proposal. Anyhow, you have done a website on education. You were saying that I have browsed it. It is quite interesting. I am ready to purchase this website. Do you wish to sell? Can you sell it? Or are you interested in selling this? So Suhas thought it's a quite interesting maybe startup and all today we are speaking. So in that age, or maybe 20, 30 years before, he thought it's quite interesting. Then good amount of money was given by his friend's father. Then he got money. Then his friend's father said, Suhas, now it's the time for you to fly with this money. Then somehow father spoke with Suhas' father, friend's father spoke with the Suhas' father. They convinced and Suhas flew to America, just in 9th standard. And in no time he started his own company. And imagine, he was one of the youngest CEO. Till 2007 or 8, he was one of the youngest CEO in the world. He had a dream, he had a desire, he achieved it, and he was happy. We think, but he was not. Meanwhile, he sent in a proposal to the Indian government that he needs permission to start a company. What I heard that because he was a minor, so the government said till 18, till becoming a major, you cannot open a company in your name. So till then, he stayed there, he pursued his education, and he started. I mean, there are different narrations. At least one narration tells around 14 or 16 companies, branches he had opened in 18 countries. At the age of 18, when he was just on 18, he returns to India. And now he's a business tycoon. So he was well received, and there was a birthday party, and friends, so many other people, dignitaries had come. And one of them was journalist. When journalist came to know about his achievements, Suhas Gopinath's achievement, then he asked, sir, I would like to make an interview. Suhas said, all right, after the party, you can do an interview. So after the party, the first question was, sir, which is the unforgettable day in your life? Which can be the unforgettable day? So when I used to go to schools and colleges, when I asked, after narrating this incident, when I asked the question to the children, most of the children used to tell when he got a slap from his father. Then someone said when they launched the website, some students used to say when he flew to the America. So different answers I got it. Very few people told the fact. Suhas said, today is the unforgettable day for me in my life. The journalist thought, oh, maybe because for 3 years he was away from the country and now he's meeting his parents, friends, relatives, and he's feeling homely in his motherland, and now he is, with all success he has come here, so probably that is the unforgettable day in that. So journalist also in a nutshell he told, oh, because you are able to meet your friends, relatives, parents especially, is it that because is unforgettable day in your life? Suhas says, no. Then why? He says, because till yesterday I was minor. Today, according to the Indian Constitution, according to our rights, I am 18 today, I am major. So I could open a company. And I opened a company and I could change or I have instructed all my branches in different countries that from today onwards the headquarters will be India. So I have made my country proud. So hence this is an unforgettable day in my life, he says. Now also he's in Bangalore and he's running his own software company and other things, and he's helping a lot of people. My dear young Indians, how can I be peaceful? How can we be peaceful? Whatever we desire, or we fix our goals, we fix our targets. When we can reach the targets, when we can reach that goals, we can be happy and we can be peaceful. Many times we have got desires or targets, like I would like to become an IAS officer or an IPS officer, maybe doctor or engineer. But after a few years, if you ask, if not all, quite a good amount of students or good amount of youth will not be able to reach our targets, goals. As a result, we have compromised with many things in our life, and we keep on blaming and commenting and lamenting, and we compromise our things. So first and foremost for the youngsters, I would like to say, if you want peace, fix the target, fix the goal, how much ever, either simple or difficult, and work for it day in and day out with all zest, with all the positive mindset. Then you can be happy and you can be peaceful. So this is what probably the message I would like to give to the youngsters. Now coming to our devotees, how to achieve peace. All of us, we want really peace, isn't it? When we think, oh, I want to be peaceful. We all think about it. But are we really serious? May not be all the times. So I always say, peace and happiness is a deliberate choice one has to make for it. And one has to work for it. But unfortunately, we think suffering is inevitable, and somehow we have to struggle with that, we have to cope up with that. That's why we keep thinking out of helplessness. If not all the times, most of the times, a few times. Rather, Upanishad says that our real nature, inherent nature is Ananda, happiness. Why I am using this happiness? Because most of the time we think, if I am happy, I am peaceful. For example, a child wants chocolate. Child asks for chocolate, and if you give chocolate, child is happy, at least for that moment or for that day probably. So because of that, we always think, if I am happy, I am peaceful. Whatever I wish, whatever I desire, sincerely, if I get, I am happy. This is what our general notion. It may be true to a certain extent, but it is not so all the time. How? Just we can analyze our own lives. When we were small, when we were children, at least our Indian education system or our parents, our education system has made us to say, oh, 10th standard is very important in our life. If we get a good marks in 10th, more or less our life is settled. That's so after 6th or 7th, we get chased towards 10th standard, getting 90, 95, 98, 99, whatnot today. Earlier, at least if you pass, okay, first class, okay, distinction was okay in our time. Now it is all 90 and above, 95 and above, fortunately and unfortunately. Then after 10th, again our education system says, or our society is trying to say that plus 2 is very important. It will decide your life. So pursue, day in and day out, we go to school, then we go to the labs, we go to tuition centers, then so many mock tests we do and all. After doing that, we go to some degree, basically. Engineering, doctor or any degree, basically. Then we think, oh, once degree is over, no more studies, I'll be happy. At the fag end of the degree, I will start thinking, oh, degree is not enough, I should get masters or I should get campus recruitment. Okay? So the frag end, especially engineering students, at the end of the semester or last but one semester, they will be thinking that if I am being selected as a part of campus interview in a good MNC company, I will be happy. And I'll be praying for it. My parents are also praying for it, no doubt. Then luckily I got a job. Then few days I'm happy. Few weeks or months I'm happy. Then after saying, I have got a good job in the MNC company, but my boss is not good. I think after a year or two, I should change my job where my boss is good. Okay, for discussion's sake, we'll say that we changed the job and we got good boss also. Good package, Good boss. But work is more. Work is more. Then I struggle, pray, struggle. Then you got another job. Boss is good, package is good, work is less. Then again our mind starts thinking what is not there. It aspires, it desires for what is not there. It doesn't enjoy what is there. Instead of that, it always think what is not there. Okay, everything I got, then, oh, I'm feeling boredom. Then okay. And society is also saying, parents also, once I settle in my family by marrying, everything will be okay. Once we marry and afterwards, what happens, you know better than me. Then afterwards, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Oh, many devotees come and say, Swamiji, I have nothing, everything is settled, Swamiji. Only my grandchildren should get settled in my life. So you started with your 10th standard marks getting, and now you are expecting that your grandchildren, great-grandchildren should settle in their lives. See how we are gone chasing the happiness, how we are gone chasing for peace with the different circumstances, with the different situations, or with the different peoples or event. It is like going behind a mad horse. It never happens. So that's why peace or happiness is a state of mind. We should start finding in ourselves. That's what Vedanta asks us to do. Peace is not outside. Peace is not in any person. Peace is not by getting something we get it. Maybe it may be temporary, no doubt, temporarily we get it, but absolute happiness, absolute peace, we don't get from any of these things. Only we can say from two things, or maybe three things we can say from Swami Vivekananda's language. One is, by experiencing the God, I can get absolute happiness or peace. From the Gnana Yoga point of view, from the knowledge point of view, understanding who am I, or rather experiencing who am I, by that alone I can be happy and peaceful at all given point of times. Or from Karma Yoga point of view, as Swami Vivekananda says, unselfishness. He equates unselfishness with the God actually, or uses the beautiful word self-abnegation. Means not I, but thou, or universal ego basically. Converting or leaving away the individual ego, unripened ego, to the ripened ego or universal ego. Connecting oneself to the universal ego, which is called self-abnegation. So these are the three stranded approaches which is given by Swami Vivekananda based on our Indian scriptures. And for all these things, we should control our mind. We should control our mind. That's the reason Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he tells very clearly, Uddhared Atman Atmanam, Atmanam Avasadayet, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuhu, Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Who is the real friend? If you ask, oh, John is the real friend of me. Who is real enemy? Oh, X or Y is the real enemy because of him or her, my life went into soup. We keep saying that. But Krishna says it is not so. Who is the real friend of yourself or myself? My own mind. Who is the real friend of myself? Myself. What does it mean? Krishna says very clearly, if my mind is under my control, then I am the real friend of myself. If my mind is under not my control, then I am the real enemy for myself. So how can I be peaceful and happy at all times if you ask? Bhagavad Gita says, and even including Swami Vivekananda, that control your mind. Regulate your mind. Then only one can be peaceful and happy at all given point of times. We can see very clearly in Holy Mother's life. Holy Mother comes from rural background. She didn't go to school, fine. And her husband was poor man. And she lived in Nahabat where 10 by 6 room. And there she used to store things. She used to sleep with 1 or 2 people again there, imagine. For 1 week, 2 weeks, we cannot live there, probably. In such a small room, staying there, cooking in that veranda, and sleeping with 2 or 3 people. And she says, when I was with Dakshineshwar with my husband, I was so happy, I was so blissful, she says. If this happy and blissful depends on external things, it doesn't actually. Holy Mother couldn't be happy at all times, in any way. But still she was happy at all times, and she never complained anything about her life. Why? Because she was depending on herself. Her mind was under control, desires were regulated, mind and emotions were regulated. That's the reason Holy Mother was peaceful at all given point of time. At least we will find some disturbances with some other monks, and including Swami Vivekananda. But in Holy Mother life, not a single time we see any comment and lament. She was always happy. When we read her life, we say, oh, she's Holy Mother, she's Jagan Mata, and we brush aside all these things. No. Swami Shardanji tells very beautifully in the Great Master. First time, mentioning Sri Ramakrishna sadhana period, mentioning that, he says, first time we have got the struggle of an avatara so much recorded, so we should start reading the life of incarnation from the humanistic aspect, so that we will understand how the human mind evolves, how the human personality evolves. So from that angle, we should study the Holy Trio lives. Then we will get lot of life lessons, how to lead life, maybe in the family, or with ourselves, or with interpersonal relationships, and etc. Now, there are different approaches. Just I will mention two approaches. One is psychological approach. The other is spiritual approach or religious approach, which is discussed in Patanjali Yoga Sutras and other scriptures. Patanjali Yoga Sutra tells very clearly the mind is a sense organ. It is made up of Trigunatmika, Trigunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Tamas is what? Dull, inertia, work less, earn more. So such type of quality if you have got, if your mind has got such type of quality, that means our mind is dominated by tamas. I don't like to do anything. I want to eat. I want to sleep more and more, and I don't want to achieve anything. But at the same time, I want to be an achiever. That is not at all possible. This is what tamasic mindset. Some are very ambitious, very strong, desire-oriented. They are active, sometimes even hyperactive. That means their mind is dominated by Rajoguna. They get temporary happiness, they get temporary peace, they will get temporary things and all, but their mind will be completely restless. Then another state of mind is their Sattva dominated mind, whose mind is calm, quiet, serene, who believe in simple living and high thinking, who believe in higher values. So such type of mind is dominated by Sattva Guna. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra tells very clearly, as personality development, we should travel from tamas dominated mind to rajas dominated mind. From rajas dominated mind, we should transcend ourselves to Sattva dominated mind. Then we going further, we will become Trigunatmika, or we will go beyond these Trigunas. At least given point of time, we should achieve Sattva dominated mind. By that, one can be peaceful. In the Mahabharata, you can see Yudhishthira's case, Dharmaraya. So many problems they faced. Many times other Pandavas used to get agitated. Though Bhima is such a strong person physically, but he used to get agitated. Arjuna is a Maharati. The definition of Maharati in Mahabharata is a person who is capable fighting with 10,000 people at a time. He is called Maharati. And there were only 18 Maharathis in the whole Kurukshetra war, and Arjuna was one among them. But still, many times he was not happy. He was carried over. Why? His mind was not under control. He had a rajas dominated mind, probably not the sattva dominated mind. Whereas Yudhishthira or Dharmaraya had a sattva dominated mind. That's why he was very composed. He had a good amount of viveka, and always used to distinguish what is right, what is not right, and used to always hold on to the right things at any given point of time. So sattva dominated mind has to happen. For that, abhyasa and vairagya are yama and niyama. These things has to be practiced according to the Patanjali. These are the virtues or the spiritual practices has been told by our scriptures. By practicing them, we can achieve the peace or attain the peace. If you ask from the spiritual angle, they tell very clearly, remove the impurities of the mind. When all the impurities are removed, then when the mind becomes crystal clear, it will be able to reflect the consciousness or the self or the God. Then one can get peace very clearly. That's what the spiritual things it tells. And Advaita Vedanta gives a very interesting explanation towards this peace. It is the state, happiness is the state of doing, but the peace is state of being. State of being is the ultimate solution for us to be happy at all times. I'm always trying to become something. I want to be this, I want to be that, I should not be this, I should not be that. So we are always in the process of becoming. That's why sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are not. Sometimes we are peaceful, sometimes we are not. Sometimes we are contented, sometimes we are not. Why? Because we are always in the process of becoming. By doing more and more, when we get a purification of the mind, when our mind is get cleared from all the impurities, then we understand it is not the state of becoming, rather it should be state of being. When we can transcend ourselves from the state of becoming to the state of being, then the peace is in us. We need not to struggle for anything. We need not to go in search of peace everywhere. It is inside, and that is my real nature. That's what you can, Atman or Brahman or consciousness. From the knowledge point of view, from the bhakti point of view, they say it is a supreme self or Parabrahman or God. The moment we experience it, then we can be peaceful again at all given point of times, with all given circumstances, situations. So one is training the mind, second is purifying the mind. When these two things are done, training the mind and purifying the mind, when these two things are done, immediately then we can achieve the peace of mind. And quite interestingly, if you see, the peace and the stress both are in the mind only. My mind is disturbed, my mind is agitated, my mind is calm. So this calmness and the disturbance both are in the mind only. So we are supposed to control, regulate and purify the mind so that the disturbed mind will become peaceful. So peace is a state of mind, at least at given point of time. But Upanishad tells the higher versions. May Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sharda Devi, Swami Vivekananda bless all of us so that we shall transform ourselves from state of becoming to state of being. Thank you.
After listening this very lucid and explanatory lecture from Swami Shantivratanandaji, so now it is some time for question and answers. So, microphone, Sukumar.
Most revered Maharaj, after listening to two very stimulating lectures, one on the grace of mind and on the peace of mind, as Maharaj just now expostulated, my question is with respect to self-abnegation. What you mentioned in Swamiji's complete works, self-abnegation plays a very important role to control the mind as a peace of mind, the state of being and becoming, as you mentioned. And to you, Maharaj, about the grace of mind, what you mentioned about that the mind is our enemy and also our friend. Then in what way this expostulation in the philosophical context and Vedantic sense can be advocated?
Actually, we both refer to the same verse from Bhagavad Gita. Everything depends upon whether the mind is under control or whether we're under control of the mind. So it's that mind which is dragging us here and there due to samskaras, due to our desires, due to this longing for recognition and showing off and name and fame, all of these things. That's the mind that pulls us down. And that mind which is under control, that mind which has an ideal. Swamiji emphasizes this very much, that we need an ideal in life. The mind which can follow some type of a higher ideal, that's the mind that will be helpful for us. The mind that becomes pure, that's the mind that we can trust. So we have to be very careful that the mind can deceive us. And Ramakrishna says that it'll reach a certain point where we can trust the mind, and then even higher, the mind becomes a guru itself. That means it'll direct us in the right path. That when a decision comes, we can trust that mind. But it has to be mature. It has to be, Thakur uses the language of ripened, this ego. It has to be this mature type of ego that's not based on all sorts of lower ideals. Main problem is that we do everything with some desire for praise from other people. And we want people to appreciate us. And we think about ourselves. The self-abnegation, it means we think about other people. If the whole mind is directed toward other people, we don't have to worry about that. That takes care of the whole problem. If we think about, I often think about this, some of the great sadhus of our order, you look at the presidents of our order, not a single second will they think, is this something that I want to do? Is this something that will make me happy? Everything will always be, is it for the good of the Sangha? Is it good for the devotees? So this, if we can think in those terms, direct the mind towards helping other people, thinking about the welfare of other people rather than ourselves. If the whole time we're thinking that how can I become free from ego, we're building up the ego. It's also, thinking about ourselves. The real saints of this world, they don't care about their own self. Swamiji, may I be born again and again. That doesn't matter. He'll suffer all sorts of misery, only if I can help someone. So if we can direct the mind away from this small ego, then that mind will always, like the compass, it'll always point north. We can trust it. That becomes guru itself even.
Anybody would like to ask anything? Any more question? Yeah. Pass the mic, please.
Pranam Swamiji, how one can become a sannyasi while living the worldly life?
Yeah, by leaving the worldly life, you cannot be sannyasi. No, not at all. Not at all. Even for that matter, our scriptures tells very clearly. I mean, I generally, on the lighter side, I keep making a joke that whether you will be a householder or a monk, that choice has been given from our scriptures. But whether to be spiritual or not, scriptures have not given a choice. It is like whether to wear a white color dress or red color dress, yes, the society allows us to take it. Whether to wear the dress or not, so the society has not given a choice for us. So whether to be spiritual or not, scriptures have not given a choice. Of course, but in fact we have taken the choice, that is different. But scripture doesn't give a choice whether to be spiritual or not. So Sri Ramakrishna tells this is very important teaching for us, that if we live in the world, there is no problem. If the worldliness is in us, then only all the problem, suffering comes. So whether to become monk, forget, even to be householder, we are supposed to reduce our worldliness. So then there is no question of becoming a monk having a worldliness.
How can we balance both
What? Both means what?
spirituality and the worldly life?
Spirituality and worldly life. So when you say worldly life, what do you mean by that?
I'm a student, I'm preparing for exam, and I don't have time. I say I don't have time for prayer. You say like we have to purify our mind. How do we we purify our mind by meditating and by prayer? But in worldly life, I say I don't have time for this. So how do we balance this?
So, I mean, see, how much ever we are busy, every day say 15 minutes, 30 minutes, at least that much time we can give for our spiritual practice. maybe japa or meditation or worship, that much time we can give. So if you feel if you're quite engaged in studies, maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours if you're going for competitive exams, and if you're very senior and if you're sincere and serious, then definitely you have to spend 8 to 10 to 12 hours study, no doubt. And 5 to 6 hours you are study, sleep will go, no doubt. But after that, say 12 hours you study, 6 hours you sleep, 18 hours, 2 hours ablutions and eating breakfast, lunch, dinner and all, still you have got 4 hours. So we don't have a reason to say that I don't have a time for japa, meditation or whatever. It is only laziness. Either it is a laziness or lack of interest. Either of that we are having this problem really. Otherwise it is not that we are so busy where we don't have a time for dedicating our time to the spiritual practices. Okay, this is one thing. Second thing, as Karma Yoga says very clearly and Swamiji tells, whatever the action we are doing it, if that itself we can take it as a spiritual practice. In the introduction to complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Sister Nivedita writes a beautiful statement based on Swamiji's teachings. Henceforth, there will be no difference between sacred and secular. To labor is to pray. So work is worship, that's what. So all our actions can be converted into spiritual practices. For that, there should be change in attitude. Probably I'll give a simple example by quoting a story, then most of us will be able to understand, because all of us we are working in the society, or in a monastery, or in the family, or in a office. So in a village, the village chief, he decided that I will build a temple as a part of religious activities or whatever. He thought and he decided, and enough money, he declared. Then quite a good amount of people are required to build a temple, and people assembled. Of course, everyone is getting salary, everyone is paid. Most of them are paid and they are working. One traveler was just passing by that village. He saw so many activities are going on. One fellow was doing sculpting. He was preparing idols, small idols, is to be placed on the outside of the temple, basically. So this traveler asked the sculptor, "Sir, what are you doing?" Now, carefully watch all the words. He said, "Oh, can't you see what I am doing?" It was quite rashly he spoke. "I am preparing a statue, idols." He said, "Okay, fine. Why are you doing it?" "Oh, to fill my belly, for my bread and butter, to earn my bread and butter." This was the reply. Then he went few steps ahead. Then similar work. One more sculptor is preparing idols. The same question he asked, "Sir, what are you doing?" "Oh, I am preparing idols." "Why are you doing?" "I love this work. I am passionate about this. I love this work." He said, "Thank you, sir." And he went few steps. Again, one more sculptor. He asked same question, "Sir, what are you doing?" He said, "I am removing the unwanted pieces from the stone." See how different the answer is. Same work, all the three are being paid, no doubt. No one is doing charity there, but the approach and the tone and the sentences, their attitude is different. So he's telling, "I am removing the unwanted pieces from the stone, so that the idol will be presented." Okay. "Why are you doing?" He said, "Oh, our landlord has decided to do a good work, contributory work. Because when temple comes, many people come and do pray. Their prayers are answered. They get peace. They get some contentment, at least temporary or permanent contentment, and economic empowerment happens. Like flower merchants will get their business, fruits and sweets merchants, they will get their business, and sweepers, cleaners, they will get their livelihood. So it is like a industry. From that angle, he's saying that, so hundreds of people, they will get their livelihood. So it's a great work. So I am feeling blessed to be the part of this great work, like yagna. All the three are doing the same work. All the three are being paid. Never mind. But first fellow was very rash and he said, "I know only this work and I am doing this work just to fill my belly." The second fellow said, "Oh, I am doing this as a passion." The third fellow said, "Oh, this is a part of service. I am doing it which in a management language today we all speak. Be a contributor. Be a contributor." So he has taken the role of a contributor. So we have to change our attitudes. Either you are studying, tomorrow you are working in a profession, in a job, in a factory or in a place or in your house. So if we can change our attitudes, the same work can bind us, the same work can liberate us. So every work can be made as sacred. Nothing will be sacred.
My question is, I want to ask, what steps can we take in our daily life to intensify love for God?
The prescription given by Ramakrishna is usually holy company. This is the most important and easiest way to increase our love for God. When we see manifest in any individual these divine qualities, then we start to get some faith. We start to understand that everything we read about spiritual life, that this is true. We develop Shraddha. So Thakur emphasizes, first of all, is holy company. And then we have to do spiritual practice. We have to do spiritual practice. We have to learn to fix the mind on the ideal. We have to learn to develop this intense love for God. We do this when the Ishta Devata feels real for us. So for Sri Ramakrishna, that the more we can let the mind dwell on that divine play, that lila, the more we can think about Sri Ramakrishna, the more, for me, one of the greatest gifts that we have is this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Kathamrita Vachanamrita. That if we can let the mind dwell on that divine play and feel the reality that this Ishta Devata, Sri Ramakrishna, he dwells within the heart, that he's the real self within, that is Antaryamin, that Sri Ramakrishna himself dwells there, that when we think of Sri Ramakrishna, when we worship him, we have to include all aspects of his being, that he's one with the Brahman, the supreme Brahman, that he's dwelling within as the Antaryamin, that he's the one who's listening to our prayer, he's the one guiding us, he's the one who's ever present within. And if we can fix the mind on that divine play, that lila, the lila chintana, lila dhyana, that we constantly remember that what took place so many years ago, and if we let the mind dwell on these things, then we start to understand another concept. This is called Nitya Lila. We find this especially among the Vaishnava tradition, this belief that that play of Radha and Krishna is going on eternally. So we can start to feel that this divine play, the Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, the disciples, this is going on even now. If we dive deep within, we can enter into that realm of that lila, and we can feel that when we sit for meditation, that we can participate. We can feel intimacy. See, love requires intimacy. We have to feel connection. We have to feel the Thakur Ma, the real mother and father, and we do this by constantly letting the mind dwell on these things. The Manmana, we have all these Matchita, Matparayana, in Gita, all of these different phrases that let the mind dwell on me. Everything that you do, let it be my worship. So these are ways that love develops. We have to feel that reality, Thakur and Ma, that they're real and that they're ever present. They're present within, they're present on this lila level also. And where does this lila take place? Within this cosmic mind. Where is this cosmic mind? Within the depth of the heart. If we can go doob doob doob, we have all of these beautiful songs that dive deep within the heart. We can enter into that realm of lila, and we can feel that this love that Sri Ramakrishna had, Holy Mother had, for their own disciples, that they have for us also. So it's a question of letting the mind dwell on these things. We do it in meditation, we do it, this spiritual reading, this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, one of the most important practices that we have. If we can really fix the mind on that, then that takes on a reality that is more real than anything else. And we find that we look forward to our spiritual practice. We look forward to that as the time when we can go to Dakshineswar, we can sit with Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother. We can feel that love that they had. So we have to put forth some type of effort. We have to really fix the mind. And the more we do that, the less we care about this world. Not that we become indifferent, but it becomes secondary. That becomes more real. You remember when Narendra asked Sri Ramakrishna, do you see God? He said, yes, even more real, in a more real sense than I see you. So the more time we spend, there's no substitute for time. The more time that we spend in meditation, spiritual reading, japa, all of these things, that these are meant to increase the love of God. So Sri Ramakrishna, he's asked so many times, what is the value of spiritual practice? What is the value of sadhana? And he says, it begets love of God. He doesn't say it will lead to nirvikalpa samadhi. He says it begets love of God. So we have to do spiritual practice. We have to let the mind dwell on this ideal. We have to feel this living presence of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother. We have to feel that living presence within. We have to feel that we can access that. The deeper we can go within the heart, we can enter into that realm, this Nitya Lila, this play is ever going on. And if we can develop some conviction, that's why I mentioned before holy company. If we see people, these great souls who have given their whole lives to this ideal, and who have that love of God, we see how peaceful they are, how calm they are, how kind they are, how loving they are, how unselfish they are. Then we see the benefits of this, and we feel that desire ourselves to experience that. So keeping holy company, spiritual reading. For me, this idea of pilgrimage is very important. That when I was very young, I had the great blessing of going to Dakshineswar and sitting in Thakur's room. So that when I read, Thakur is facing north, the Ganga is flowing this way, that I could picture everything. And this was one of the great teachings of M. Srimad, the Mahendranath Gupta, that anyone who came to him, he would direct them to Dakshineswar. He would say, you go there. Don't sit with your eyes closed. Look around the room. Picture where everything, all the photos, all the pictures where they are. Remember what took place. This is where Thakur worshipped the Holy Mother, all of that. Remember these things. Walk to Panchavati. And he said, why? When you sit for meditation, these will come back into your mind. You'll be able to feel that you're present with him, that you're sitting there with him. So all of these things are very helpful to develop this love of God. Some people will say, love of Sri Ramakrishna. We never met him. How much do we know? And I sometimes think, how much do we know of people that we see day in and day out, that we say we love? We're projecting some ideal. Yeah. Well, one day we'll turn around and say that, oh, I had no idea that the person is like that. You're not the person I thought you were. How much is projection? So with Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, we have their words, we have their photograph. There's no reason in the world why we can't love them the same way we can love people that we've met in flesh and blood. Because we close our eyes and we feel that divine presence. So this is something we can absolutely cultivate, this tremendous love. So through holy company, through sadhana, through our meditation, through our japa and everything, that Thakur says, this will lead to anuraga. This will lead to vakulata. This tremendous longing for realization. there's no shortcut. We have to do the sadhana. The more we do sadhana, if we do it sincerely, the more love for the Ishta Devata should come.
So with this, we will conclude now the questions and sessions. So I take this opportunity to profoundly thank both our speakers, esteemed speakers, who have enlightened our audience, our devotees, our spiritual seekers of Delhi on very important subject of mind. As we all know, our scripture says, and our Swami's dealt in detail, Man eva manushyanam karana bandha mokshayo. It is the same mind. And as Gita says, Atmeva hi atmano bandhu, atmeva ripuratmana. So it is all, everything is depending on mind. Where we associate our mind with, that tells the tale at the end of the day. So I hope all of you have been benefited by such noble ideas to carry it out in your day-to-day life, in your spiritual practices, and making your mind associated more and more to the holy company, noble thoughts, reading some good books, etc. Because most of our time is wasted rather in so-called social media and other things, which we learn a little, but it deprives us much more and takes our most of our valuable time, which otherwise we could have put it in a more useful way in uplifting our lives. So I hope that qualities like contentment, fortitude, holy company, and all these things, what you have listened in the lectures, etc., such noble virtues, we will all be able to strive for, to attain in our life. So I once again take this opportunity to profoundly thank our esteemed speakers. We thank you very much, Maharaj. With our folded hands, we offer our pranams to both of you for enlightening our audience. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Now we will request our Swamis will be sitting in front. We will request our devotees, whosoever wants to make pranams, come from this side and they can leave from this exit.